So we'll do this 4chan one. So let's take a look and see what happened, because I don't know the story, honestly. All I know is that supposedly the UK tried to go after 4chan and 4chan bitch slapped them. So I don't really know all that much about it. So let's find out. Okay. Wargod, is that in Hirohe's video about VPNs? It is like Adam Avatar. I saw that who was it? Shadowversity. I think made a video like when he tried to make a Warhammer and they like banned everything at the hardware store. I heard about that. Yeah. All right. You know what? We'll watch the 4chan one. And maybe we'll come back to his hero's latest one about the VPN if it's also including where, the UK going after people talking about the Online Safety Act. So, it's a separate video on TikTok. Okay, who knows? Hirohe may talk about that. Anyway, let's jump into the 4chan one real quick.
So the Office of Communications in the UK, Ofcom, is very upset at 4chan. We've got Ofcom.org saying investigation into 4chan and its compliance with duties to protect its users from illegal content. And spoiler alert already, 4chan's legal representation has already responded to Ofcom and just completely made a mockery of them, which is justifiable, which we'll get to later in this video after all of the stuff leading up to it. So back over to Ofcom and their notice to 4chan. They say investigation into online discussion board 4chan. Case open June 10th, 2025. Last updated on August 13th, just a few days ago. The summary being, we are initiating an investigation to determine whether the online discussion board 4chan has failed or is currently failing to comply with its obligations under the Online Safety Act 2023. Our investigation will focus on potential breaches in the following areas: failure to respond to a statutory information request, failure to complete and keep a record of suitable and sufficient illegal content risk assessment, and non-compliance with the safety duties about illegal content. Relevant legal provisions, sections 9, 10, 23, 2, and 102.8 of the Online Safety Act 2023. And so just to clarify really quick, the Online Safety Act in the UK did pass in 2023. However, its implementation has just been rolling out recently, which is why it's been in the news so much. For example, as we can see here, the open internet is closed for business, moves from popular platforms.
Well, Tornado, I think that's the crux of it. This is not a 4chan, I believe, is an American site. And that's probably why 4chan said, go fuck yourselves. We're an American website. I have a suspicion they're literally going to do you have no power here, huh? I have a feeling they're going to do exactly that. They're going to basically go, fuck off, Pilgrim. We ain't giving you shit, and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
Forms and world governments threaten the open web, privacy rights, and your favorite sites. And of course, we've been discussing this extensively for the last number of weeks or so. And yeah, for anyone who may not have been keeping up with all this stuff, essentially the UK and other world governments are attempting to invade user privacy, regulate various online sites, require people to submit.
Okay. Hold up. Cyberknife, I must offer correction. This is not capitalism. Okay? This in no way, shape, or form is capitalism. This is authoritarianism or totalitarianism. It is in no way capitalism. This is a government that is literally trying to put its populace under its boot. This does not even have hints of capitalism whatsoever. This is the UK is literally, and I've said this before, but not in these exact words, the UK is literally speed running V for Vendetta. It's not fascism, because fascism is, it's not exact. I looked up the definitions. It falls more in line with authoritarianism or totalitarianism versus fascism or communism. It fits the first two definitions more accurately than the secondary two. Although I wouldn't offer a correction on using the latter of the two either. I certainly would not offer a correction, say, no, it doesn't fit like that, you're abusing the word. No, I wouldn't do that. It's just, it fits better with authoritarianism or totalitarianism, but they're speed running V Vendetta. They are literally speed running. That's why when I refer to the police in the UK, I call them the fingermen. I will not call the police of the UK police because they're not the police anymore. They are literally the fingermen that will try and stop you or arrest you for literal thought crimes. I've seen numerous videos where where the fingermen of the UK are literally trying to arrest people for being rude. I am not joking. I saw a video of some guy who was walking down the street just like videoing just the area, some nice buildings, and he was taking video, and a police officer kind of basically starts interrogating him, and the man is like, I'm not talking to you. I'm doing nothing illegal. I'm not talking to you. And the fingerman kept pushing, and eventually this man said, get lost, and then the fingerman basically said he was going to arrest him for being rude to him. So yeah, they're literally going the route of trying to arrest people for thought crimes. That was the whole thing with them pulling people over because they were catcalling the undercover female fingermen while they were out jogging, while they were pretending they were like jogging. And they were pulling people over, and they couldn't arrest them or cite them because what they were doing is not a crime, but they were still detaining them for thought crimes. That's the way the UK is going.
Biometric data, and a number of other things that could very easily be criticized as government overreach. And of course, politicians supporting this stuff are attempting to manipulate the public with an argument of, we're doing this to protect the children.
Yes, they did.
Fortunately, most people don't seem to be following.
Yeah, and I'll remind everybody, every single one of these governments, US and Canada included, that are pushing these laws under the auspice of it's for the children is 1000% full of shit. They are completely full of shit. It has nothing to do with the children. They don't give a fuck about the children. The UK in specific, because if they actually gave a fuck about the children, then they'd be rounding up the migrant rape gangs that are assaulting children left, right, and center. But they're not. Instead, they're pushing these dystopian censorship laws and online and ID laws to bring the people under heel to do what the party wanted. So don't believe a fucking word that when somebody says it's for the children. No, it's not. This is not. This is their gateway into populist control. That is literally what it is. The governments do not give a fuck about the children. They do not care. They see children as future voters, and they see children as tax dollars. That's how the governments view children. They don't give a fuck about the kids at all. And if you think they do, I got a really nice bridge in Brooklyn to sell you dirt cheap.
Of, we're doing this to protect the children. Fortunately, most people don't seem to be falling for this stuff, though. And as a matter of fact, there's also an argument that these policies they're attempting to roll out would actually make the internet more dangerous for children and, well, everyone, really. Oh, unless you're a politician, though. They get to keep their security. You know, rules for the not for me sort of thing.
Of course.
Anyways, let's go back to good old Ofcom over here and their investigation into 4chan, as they have a write-up about this, but clearly you can see we're getting flashbanged, and that's not cool. So what I'm going to do is copy-paste this text and put it in a notepad document, so at least it's not, you know,
thank you,
like
hero.
Yeah. But now we're left with this text in the notepad, and this is probably also kind of hard for people to read, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, it is.
Maybe not the best solution. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull up some Rivals gameplay and then read this over the gameplay, because I'm assuming that will still be more interesting than, like, people having to read this. Maybe not,
Blue
though,
Wolf.
but I don't know. Hopefully that's the right call. Anyways, here's what Ofcom has to say. In accordance with Section 130 of the Online Safety Act 2023, we have today issued 4chan Community Support LLC with a provisional notice of contravention. Ofcom is satisfied that there are reasonable grounds for believing the provider has contravened its duties under Section 102.8 of the Act to comply with 2 requests for information. I love how the implication there is that 4chan got these requests and just ignored them, which was kind of what Rumble did. I mean, Rumble did at least entertain them with a response via email, but ultimately the response...
Legit. Would not be surprised if 4chan got the notice from the UK government, looked at it, went, and then circular filed it. I would not be surprised if they did that.
Response basically amounted to that, just ignoring them. Continuing, they say, "We will consider any representations provided in response to this provisional notice before we make a final decision on this matter. The additional duties under investigation. On June 10th, 2025, we opened an investigation into whether the provider of 4chan has failed / is failing to comply with its duties under the Online Safety Act 2023. And they go on to list what those failures are, which we'll get to. But I'm just astonished that this UK regulator thinks that they really have a right to go after foreign companies and be like, oh, you're not complying with us. How dare you? And so I just recorded 2 more minutes of reading this response, but I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna cut it there because there's so much just unnecessary word bloat and legalese to this.
Thank you, Hero.
Let me just give you a TLDR, okay? Ofcom is upset at 4chan for apparently not submitting a risk assessment to them in time, saying that this needed to be done by March 17th, 2025. And they more or less say that since 4chan has not responded in time, that they are going to... They're going to identify a compliance failure, potentially imposing fines of up to 18 million euros, British sterlings, or 10% of the qualifying worldwide revenue, whichever is greater. Now, this is the exact same thing.
Oh, 4chan's gonna take one look at that and go, okay, you can take that and shove it way up your ass. Good luck, they're a US company. They do not give a fuck. Particularly with who's currently in the White House. They do not give a fuck. And they'll happily say, cool, you want to come after us? Go talk to the man in the White House.
According to my recollection, that we saw them going after even platforms like YouTube for. I'm referring to stuff like this, for example, where an article had said the OSA, Online Safety Act, broadly applies to any tech company with a significant number of UK users, or if the UK is a target market. Non-compliant companies can incur fines of up to 23.8 million, approximately 18 million pounds, or 10% of their global revenue, whichever is higher, for each violation. Quote unquote.
Interesting there. A lot of times it would be whatever's lower, but this one, they're trying to do whichever's higher. So it's a fucking money laundering scheme. This is also, it is about control and it's about fucking money laundering. That they're gonna say, okay, you're either gonna fall under our boot or you're gonna give us 18 million pounds, or if your global revenue is higher, we're going to go after that instead to enrich ourselves. So they're pulling a money laundering scheme under the guise of UK law. Oh, boy. Oh, UK. Oh, Parliament. Oh, the party are some dirty scumbags on this one. Oh, you are reaching next level scumbaggery right here. Yeah, exactly. Worm, this is going to have about the same effect as that chief fingerman that got pissed off at Americans shitting all over the UK on Facebook and claiming that they were going to fly over to the US and arrest the person in the US and extradite them back to the UK for wrongthink on Facebook. To which the response was, you and what army, fuck nuggets? You guys don't use guns, and literally every other person here has at least 20 guns. Bring it, motherfucker. Fuck around and find out.
Senior managers could also face prison time for violations. In July, the sections regarding age verification and content for children took effect. And needless to say, 4chan ain't having any of it.
Here we
responding
go.
With their lawyers here, actually. Their lawyers giving
well, this should be good.
We can see Bjorn and Storm PC, attorneys at law. Response. responding to statement regarding Ofcom's reported provisional notice 4chan Community Support LLC. And they say this. Bjorn and Storm PC and Coleman Law PC represent 4chan Community Support LLC, or 4chan. According to press reports, the UK Office of Communications, or Ofcom, has issued a provisional notice under the Online Safety Act alleging a contravention by 4chan and indicating an intention to impose a penalty of 20,000 British sterlings plus daily penalties thereafter. It is British sterlings, right? Like, hopefully I'm saying that right now. I think I got a comment.
It's British pounds.
Before, so yeah, I'm just saying. Hopefully I got it right.
It's British pounds. Hero. The British sterling is probably, yeah, it's British sterling pound or pound sterling, but it's typically speaking, when you are referring to it, it's just the British pound.
4chan is a United States company incorporated in Delaware with no establishment, assets, or operations in the United Kingdom. Any attempt to impose or enforce a penalty against 4chan will be resisted in U.S. federal court. American businesses do not surrender their First Amendment rights because a foreign bureaucrat sends them an email. Under settled principles of U.S. law, American courts will not enforce foreign penal fines or censorship codes. If necessary, we will seek appropriate relief in U.S. federal court to confirm these principles. United States federal authorities have been briefed on this matter.
Yeah, baby.
The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, was reportedly warned by the White House to cease targeting Americans with UK censorship codes, according to reporting in the Telegraph on July 30th. That's also something that we discussed the other day, or I guess, a week or so ago now at this point. Despite these warnings, Ofcom continues its illegal campaign of harassment against American technology firms. A political solution to this matter is urgently required, and that solution must come from the highest levels of American government. We call on the Trump administration to invoke all diplomatic and legal levers available to the United States to protect American companies from extraterritorial censorship mandates. Our client reserves all rights. So yeah, what did Ofcom really achieve here? They made themselves look like more of a joke than they already.
Well, my guess is Spotify, because is in this letter. Hang on, let me get back to it. Yeah. So no, sorry, on one. Hang on, where'd it go? Yeah. So, so 4chan is incorporated in Delaware with no establishment, assets, or operations in the United Kingdom. It's possible that Spotify may have offices of operation in the United Kingdom, and that's why they capitulated to the UK. Because if they have offices or assets or anything in the UK, they would be culpable to, or they would fall under jurisdiction of UK laws. 4chan does not. They don't have fuck all in the UK. So again, this is just like the chief fingerman of the UK trying to say that someone on Facebook in America said something mean and that they're going to try and fly, and they were threatening to fly over to the US and arrest them, and promptly got laughed at by everyone. It's basically the same thing. This is the same thing, just from a more governmental standpoint instead of a criminal standpoint. Yes, that idiot, Alex. That idiot. Spotted by his offices in London? Okay, Leo, that's what I suspected. That's why they capitulated.
American technology firms. A political solution to this matter is urgently required administration to invoke all diplomatic, territorial censorship mandates. Made themselves look like more of a joke than they already looked, and, they've pretty much universally been getting
Woodman, you are free to call the UK whatever you want. I myself have taken to calling the UK government the party. They don't deserve the honor of being referred to as the UK government or parliament, because they are now the party. Just like their law enforcement is called the fingerman. That is how I refer to the UK governments and police now, is they are the party and they are the fingerman. They don't deserve the honor of being addressed as an actual functioning government.
Mocked by the majority of the internet who's been keeping up with this sort of news. And I can only imagine they're going to get mocked even more for this. I mean, they just look so weak and pathetic and petty, too. Just completely out of touch and irrational, thinking they can really regulate these foreign companies in this manner. And all of them are basically just telling them to saw it off. That's the British term for it, right? Did I get it right? But yeah, anyways, I guess I'll leave it there. That's pretty much it for this video. A little bit shorter than usual, but there's just not much else to go over, I suppose. That's like all the
Like if they actually went to the United States and attempted to arrest a U.S. citizen, they would never leave the U.S. I'm not going to say what would happen, but if a member of the Singermen went to the United States to try and arrest an American citizen for saying mean things on Facebook, that Fingerman would never leave the United States ever again. And that's all I'm going to say.
main stuff. So let me know what you think about this in the comments. I hope you enjoyed my coverage, and if you did, please consider liking and or subscribing. Appreciate you. Of course, have a great week ahead too. And yeah, I'll see you in the comments here and in the next one.
Okay, so that was the 4chan thing where it's, again, it was a repeat of the Facebook incident. It was a repeat of Facebook incident. 4chan said, fuck you.
Thank God I'm across the pond. I will now catcall, damn look at them thighs.
Well, here, if you're going to catcall about that, I might as well give you some thighs, right? I mean, no point in catcalling for thighs if you don't have thighs, right? Just wouldn't be, it wouldn't be cricket.